This is why Kopa was kept hidden from the Lion King. If you don't know who Kopa is, don't worry, you're not alone. You won't find him in The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, or anywhere in the official movies. But here's the wild part. Simba does have a son in the Lion King book series called The Lion King, 6 New Adventures. Yeah, before Kiara was even a thing, Kopa was supposed to be the rightful heir to the Pride Lands. So why did Disney pretend he never existed? Why was he completely erased from the movies? Did something dark happen to him? Or was it just a behind-the-scenes decision? Buckle up, because the truth about Kopa's disappearance is more surprising than you think. So, where did Kopa even come from? And if he was important enough to be Simba's son, why doesn't anyone talk about him? Well, Kopa made his big debut outside of the movies, in a little-known book series called The Lion King, 6 New Adventures. These books were published in the 90s, riding the wave of The Lion King's massive success. And guess what? In this version of the story, Simba and Nala don't just have a daughter, they have a son. Kopa was everything you'd expect from the child of a Lion King. He was curious, adventurous, and had that same rebellious streak Simba had as a cub. Sound familiar? That's because in many ways he was Kiara before Kiara even existed. He spent his days exploring the Pride Lands, learning about leadership, and even forming a friendship with a cub named Asante. So if Kopa was already set up as the next king, why did Kiara replace him? Why did Disney erase him from the movies entirely? Was it just a simple rewrite, or is there something more to the story? Keep watching, because things are about to get even weirder. In the Lion King movies, we all know how the story goes. Simba reclaims the throne from Scar, the Pride Lands flourish again. And by the end of the first film, we see Simba and Nala standing proudly on Pride Rock, introducing their newborn cub to the kingdom. That cub was supposed to be Kopa, right? Well, not exactly. By the time The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride came out, Kopa was gone. Instead, Simba and Nala suddenly had a daughter, Kiara. No explanation, no mention of a lost brother, nothing. It was like Kopa never even existed. But in The Lion King, 6 New Adventures, Kopa is their cub. He grows up learning the ways of the Pride Lands, preparing to be king one day. He even has interactions with other animals that help shape his journey. So it appears that Kopa's world and Kiara's words are in alternate dimensions. Let's explore that some more, shall we? The truth is, Kopa's disappearance probably had everything to do with Disney's creative choices. When they started working on The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, they wanted to tell a Romeo and Juliet style love story. That meant Simba's cub needed to have a love interest. Enter Kiara and Kovu. If Kopa had been in the picture, they either would have had to rewrite his entire character or introduce both a prince and a princess, which might have complicated the story. Then there's the marketing angle. Disney wanted The Lion King the tune to appeal to young girls, and what's more marketable than a fearless lion princess? A strong female lead like Kiara fit the Disney sequel formula perfectly, so Kopa got pushed aside. As for official statements, Disney has never explicitly said why Kopa was left out, but animators and creators have hinted that they weren't even considering the books when making the sequel. The movies and the books were treated as 2 separate things, meaning Kopa was never meant to be part of the film canon in the first place. But here's the thing. If Kopa was never part of Disney's plans for the movies, why did his design look so much like Simba's cub at the end of The Lion King? And why do so many fans still believe he was supposed to be part of the story? Something doesn't quite add up. And that's where the fan theories come in. You see, when Disney won't give us answers, you know the fans will come up with their own. And trust me, Some of these theories about Kopa's disappearance are wild. The first theory is by far the most popular one. Fans believe that before The Lion King II, Simba's pride begins, Zira, Scar's most devoted follower, attacked and killed Kopa as revenge for Scar's death. This would explain why Simba is so overprotective of Kiara, why he's so paranoid about the outsiders, and why he hates Kovu at first sight. But does it hold up? Well, there's no official confirmation, but there are clues that make it interesting. Some early Lion King 2 scripts hinted that Zira had a son before Kovu, who died under mysterious circumstances. Could this mean that there was originally a revenge plot tied to Kopa? Maybe, but since Disney never acknowledges Kopa in the films, there's no way to say for sure. And so that leads us to the second theory. Some fans believe that Disney didn't erase Kopa, just renamed him. They argue that Kovu was originally meant to be Simba's son, but was later rewritten as Scar's adopted heir instead. After all, Kovu and Kopa look similar. Brown fur, green eyes, same scruffy mane as cubs. Did Disney just tweak his backstory and move on? But again, does it hold up? Not really. Kovu being Scar's chosen heir is crucial to the story, and if he were Simba's biological son, it would completely change the Romeo and Juliet angle of Simba's pride. Still, it's an interesting thought. Now, the third theory, some fans believe that Kopa and Kiara exist in two completely different universes. The books and movies were made by different teams, and Disney never intended them to be connected. To them, Kopa was just a fun side story that had nothing to do with the actual movie canon. So, what do you think about this? It's certainly the most logical answer. As much as we want an official explanation, the truth is, Disney probably just ignored Kopa because the books weren't that important to their larger vision for The Lion King. But it's still frustrating because the cub at the end of the first movie looks a lot more like Kopa than Kiara. But hey, if Disney thought they could just erase Kopa and fans would let it go, they seriously underestimated the Lion King fandom. Kopa may have been left out of the movies, but he's lived on in fan theories, artwork, and endless discussions for decades. The moment fans realized Simba had a son in The Lion King, 6 New Adventures, the internet ran wild. Fan fiction writers created entire alternate timelines where Kopa survived, became king, or even fought against Zira himself. Artists imagined what he'd look like as an adult, often giving him a mane that blends Simba's golden fur with a darker, scar-like tint. And let's be honest, every time someone watches the end of The Lion King and sees that cub, they start asking the same question. Wait, wasn't Simba supposed to have a son? Even though Disney ignored Kopa in the films, his story hasn't been completely erased. Some merchandise like foreign Lion King comics still reference him. His name pops up in fan-made stories, YouTube theories, and even unofficial spin-offs. And because The Lion King has such a passionate fan base, Kopa has been kept alive in ways that Disney probably never expected. At the end of the day, Kopa's disappearance only made him more of a legend. Disney might not acknowledge him, but the fans? They never let him go. And that, in a way, is even more powerful than if he had been in the movies. So, what do you think about Kopa and all the theories surrounding him? Which one of those theories do you think is closer to the truth? Let us know in the comments. See you in the next video.